the ugly side of drag racing. Well, everybody behind the scenes sees that, man, not everybody looking on Facebook or YouTube or wherever sees all the ugly parts of drag racing. So when you push yourself to the limit, even when you don't push yourself to the limit, sometimes shit just breaks, it fails. Sometimes you figure out why, sometimes you find out immediately, sometimes you might find out 6 months down the road. Sometimes it's too much timing, not enough fuel, meaning tune-up. Sometimes it's parts failure, sensors go bad. I mean, we've had motors get destroyed because a map sensor is going out. Literally, this happens a lot. This case here, you know, I mean, this is some real jacked up parts here. These are probably the worst two pistons, as you can see. So what happens is this thing gets hot, lean. It gets so hot that it's literally melted the top of the piston in. There's nothing an engine builder can do to prevent this. I mean, it's nothing. It just simply, it's too hot, it ain't gonna stand it, and I don't tune this thing. I'm not saying no names, it don't matter, but this is not an engine build failure. This is simply, this part's got so hot they just can't stand it. You know what a lot of people don't realize, well, hey, you know, we got these two pistons, and you look over this guy here, pretty sure this is one of these guys, like, well, you know, piston don't look too bad, but if you actually get to looking at it, the pin bores, there's a lot of slop in there. So it's actually detonating here as well. It's already started here as well. It's beating the pin bores out of it. Next thing you know, if this guy would have made it very much longer, it would have looked like this guy. A lot of times you might, if you take your motor apart before it looks like this, when you're just going preventive maintenance or anything, and you get to look checking your pin bores, well, this is what you know, this is a bad pin bore. So you can see it's definitely beating out the pin bore. So we're having some detonation in here, and it's literally walling out the whole of your rod. It's typically the deal. Bending your pins is, you know, some of it, I guess, but mainly it's beating out your little end on your rod. When we put motors together here, and hell, any engine shop puts motors together, you know, the piston manufacturer puts the skirt profile that they want on it. Now, when this thing is detonating, it's getting all hot up here. It's beating the hell out of this thing. That's why it oblongs these pin boards, smashing out your upper rod bearing. It's doing all this. Something else it's doing is it's collapsing the skirts on the piston, okay? When it does that, the piston is going to rock more in the bore, allowing oil to go by here even more so, and then ultimately burning more oil and even causing what started out as a mess to end up even worse, because you get oil up in the top of your cylinder, and next thing you know, it's going to detonate easily, and you're going to cause what started to be a little problem to be a big problem like this. So pin bore, piston skirt collapsing, that's a lot of signs of, you know, detonation, and not always detonation as far as piston skirts collapsing, but it could be the piston's not made beefy enough. There's a lot of things that go into designing these parts. These are really nice parts that we have here as far as your Coyote. Really nice beefy buttons. I mean, it's hell about the best of the best, but even the best of the best parts can fail when they get overheated, it's too hot. Also, something else to look at, this is your Coyote chains here. Look at this guy and look at this guy. The difference is this one here didn't have enough oil. So when you don't have enough oil, the chains kink, they become a mess, and ultimately they're going to break. When you keep enough oil on them, they'll come out of the motor looking like this. This here, I'm pretty sure a valve dropped in this thing. I don't know the exact details of it. We just got some parts here that's failed. But you can see the pin bore in this one. There's not a rod hooked to it, of course, but I don't think the pin bore is fine. But there was nothing wrong with the piston on here. The skirts look okay, pin bore's okay, but the valve down here ejected and tore that up. So we'll move over here. This is a Coyote cylinder head, and this thing was hooped and all, but as you can see, you see it spreading here, it's melting. It's melting here, it's melting here, ultimately melting here. Ultimately, it just burns all this out, and it goes to the weakest spot, which, as you can see in right here, is your water jacket holes. That's why a lot of times we'll come in nowadays and, you know, we're going to dry deck that and try to make it stronger, put material there so it don't want to melt. You know, what we want to do, even over here on this cylinder here, it's melting because it's thin. The thinner it is, the less heat they'll stand without melting. I mean, it's just physics.
The top fuel hoop's not a substitute for bad tune-ups. It just seals the head gasket.
That's exactly right. You see, this is melting before the top fuel hoop even anyway. So I mean, the top fuel hoop don't have a chance. I mean, it's melting the material away and going to blow it out. And that's exactly what happens. Your intake temperature too hot, too much timing, not enough fuel. But typically speaking, that's exactly what does this. This over here, this is a nice piece. I feel like the block broke, and like this is a stock LS block that we sleeved. It's got super nice parts in it. You know, it's arguably the crank where the block broke first, and I don't know if we'll ever know 100%. It's one of them deals where we'll have the first chicken or the egg. But truthfully, either way, it's a parts failure. It broke. You fix the shit and you move on with life. I mean, it's just part of heads up. You know, racing. It's just part of it. I don't know what to say. That's just the way it is. You just got to be willing to set these risks for the rewards of being the fastest or the baddest at the track at that given day. This is definitely the ugly side of racing. This is stuff that we see on the daily basis here, weekly basis or whatever. Stuff gets tore up, stuff gets broke. All you can do is move on and fix it. When you got a lot of stuff that's tore up, I mean, that's just part of it. You got to go back and fix it, of course. But obviously, you want to try to fix whatever caused it. Whether it be your tune-up, hey, you know, put the thing on dyno, maybe got bad injectors, maybe got trash injectors. Hell, maybe your fuel, something wrong with your fuel. I've seen it all. Moving forward, you just want to try to fix issues. That way, stuff like this is kept momentum, because good wrecking motors like this is just pretty expensive.
That's drag racing.
That's drag racing.